Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed connoisseurs of the culinary arts and curious souls who've wandered in, perhaps by accident or driven by some insatiable hunger for wisdom or whimsy, I find myself before you, Samuel Langhorne Clemens, known to many as Mark Twain, tasked with dissecting a peculiar modern fascination, bone broth. Yes, bone broth, that simmering concoction which some herald as a panacea, a liquid gold, if you will, for everything from ailing joints to lackluster complexions. But I must confess, as I embark on this soliloquy, that the subject at hand is one mired in controversy, for bone broth, my friends, tastes like garbage. And why, you may ask, does it bear such an unfortunate flavor? The answer, I'm afraid, is as simple as it is unpalatable, because quite literally, bone broth is made from bones taken from the garbage. Now, before you cast me out into the night or brandish your spoons in protest, allow me a moment to elaborate on this assertion, to weave you through the annals of history, culture, and culinary misadventure, much like a riverboat navigating the mighty Mississippi. The notion of bone broth is not new. Indeed, our ancestors, driven by necessity and the unyielding instinct to waste not, found virtue in boiling the bones of their catch or hunt, extracting every last nutrient from what might otherwise be discarded. This was an era where the line between sustenance and survival was as thin as the broth itself. But, dear audience, we must not confuse the virtuous thrift of our forebears with the culinary masochism of the present day. For today's bone broth, extolled by celebrity chefs and wellness gurus alike, is an altogether different beast, or rather, an altogether different broth. In our modern age, where the excesses of consumption have led us to a peculiar sort of madness, bones are resurrected not from the noble sacrifices of sustenance hunting, but rather from the refuse of our gluttony. The bones, once the structural support of noble beasts, find themselves relegated to the garbage, only to be exhumed in the name of health and haute cuisine. And so the broth made from these remnants carries with it the essence of its origins, a taste that can only be described as reminiscent of refuse, a gastronomic ghost of garbage past. But let us not merely linger on the palate's displeasure. Let us delve deeper into the heart of the matter, into the very soul of this concoction. For in understanding the journey of bone broth, from refuse to Renaissance, we uncover a broader commentary on society itself. We live in an age of repackaging, of marketing the mundane as miraculous, of dressing up the discarded in the finery of faux sophistication. Bone broth, in its simmering simplicity, becomes a symbol of our times, a testament to our capacity to believe, to follow, to sip diligently from the cup of contemporary folly, even when it tastes unmistakably of garbage. Now I can hear the murmurs of dissent among you. But Mr. Twain, you protest, what of the nutrients, the collagen, the myriad benefits promised by this liquid elixir? To this, I tip my hat and acknowledge that yes, within the cauldron of boiled bones, there lies a brew of undeniable nutritional value. But must we adorn it in the emperor's clothes? Must we pretend that this broth, born of bones and bathed in the bouquets of the bin, is anything more than what it is? For in its honest simplicity there is virtue. In its unpretentious origins there is wisdom. But when cloaked in the guise of gastronomic grandeur, it becomes a farce, a folly, a flavorful fiasco of our own making. Consider, if you will, the myriad ingredients of our lives, the bits and bobs we discard, the experiences we deem unworthy of the soup pot of our existence. In the tale of bone broth, we find a metaphor for redemption, for finding value in the overlooked and the underestimated. There is beauty in this notion, a beauty that need not be oversold, overseasoned, or oversipped. For just as the bones simmer slowly, releasing their essence into the broth, so too do our lives enrich with time, with patience, with the slow extraction of wisdom from the carcass of experience. But let us return to the broth, to its taste, which no amount of philosophical musing can sweeten. It is, at its core, a humble reminder of our roots, of a time when necessity dictated our diet and not the whims of wellness. To sip bone broth is to engage in an act of culinary archaeology, to excavate the layers of our past, to confront the realities of our present. And if it tastes of garbage, let it serve as a reminder that